All right, y'all. Welcome to the Trap Advisor. It's your boy Pancho Gasman, and I have another special guest today. Please introduce yourself.
PJ, or Chef PJ as they call me.
Oh man, it is a real pleasure to have you here, Chef. A real pleasure.
It's a pleasure to be here. Good to see you get the Trap Advisor rolling. So
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
a long dream for you.
Yeah, and still going.
That's it.
So let me get right into it with you, man. You got about 40 years of chefing in the game.
Yeah, just about Marriott Corporation and here in town as a corporate chef.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Okay. So how did you take us to the beginning when it happened?
Actually, I grew weed when I was younger, and then my wife came home and said she was pregnant. So I decided I had to get a job. So I bought my first dishwashing job for a half pound of weed, and
Oh shit.
and that's what started my culinary career all the way up to Marriott Corporation.
With a half a pound.
Half a pound, yeah, that was my buy-in, and then I had to hide it my whole career because I worked for the Mormons for 10 years, Marriott, and they're like, back then anti-drugs. So
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
It was real anti drugs back then for sure.
Well, I used to travel. I was a traveling chef for them, and I'd, straighten places out. That was really in a bitch in a way because, like I had to take my weed with me, So, but, so that was the only bummer sometimes. But I never had problems. So,
All right. Well, tell me out of all those high pressure meals, which one stands out the most? Which is the unforgettable meal that you cooked?
oh man, I'd have to do, man, that's a hard one. I'd have to say the Oklahoma City Stockyards is the most memorable. Nothing like being in the middle of the world's busiest stockyards with all these cows running around, basically with a bunch of cowboys doing a banquet for 5,000 people. So with the smell of horse shit and their cow crap all over. So,
But you getting that real meat right there,
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure.
yeah, we had 23 double lines, and we probably smoked the brisket for probably about a week to get it all ready. It was crazy.
Dang,
Yeah, it
week
was
long
crazy.
smoking the brisket.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well, you got, good brisket. We used to do disasters, and we'd leave Oklahoma and head towards like Mississippi, and we'd have the meat, roasting on the back of the truck in a smoker. And so all the way there down I-40, people behind us be smelling all the barbecue. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So-
like let me get some of that.
Get
What
'em
y'all got
hungry.
cooking?
Yeah, made the truck stops busier. So.
All right, so how did you even? Who trained you? Like who's the chef that put you on?
I got really Marriott when I went to work for Marriott. There was a guy named Werner Siegfried, and back then in the early 70s, Marriott was all like European chefs, basically like Hell's Kitchen chef. You'd see like Gordon Ramsay. They were like chefs like that. I actually was there when my chef in New Orleans, we were doing Mardi Gras, stabbed one of the cooks with his carving fork and that's when you'd have wood cutting boards, and stuck his finger to the board right to his thing.
Oh,
And we didn't go to HR back then. There wasn't no such thing. We were,
swipe that off.
well, I
and
didn't
put it
know.
in.
Yeah, or put it on the grill. I don't know.
That's pretty wild. You was back there with old Vegas, and so you ever cook like for some mobsters or something?
We used to have a show at the Fremont in the early days. It was a guy named Tony Sacca. He since died, but a lot of people, he started the San Gennaro Festival and stuff. But we'd have like Steve and Edie. And
The San
Frankie.
Gennaro, that's matter of fact coming up. You said he started it?
He started. The guy's name was Tony Sacca, and we had a program, an hour show at the Fremont every week. We'd have like Frankie Avalon and Steve and Edie, and like all the old time, Vegas people would come in, and we'd like just talk, kind of like an early podcast before anybody really, nothing like this, but like just kind of raw, but it was fun,
Mm-hmm.
before the Food Channel was even, like happening, kind of. those were the good days, though. Like so.
Yeah, the comps and you know they say Vegas was better when the mob was running it.
Well, back then, I was a corporate chef, so like I could give away anything but money. People come to town, I put them in rooms, just stamp, food, booze, a whole different, thing. Nowadays, you can't give anybody anything. They need to know how much they spend, and it's to become corporate.
No, absolutely.
When the year they switched, Boy Gaming, when they went to a a public company, your briefcase no longer had cash in it. It just you got a briefcase with their name on it, but your bonus was no longer in it. So, so that was the time to bail.
Okay, well, when did you first enter your culinary world? Well, not when did you? When was it serious for you? Like when you like,
Well,
when did it become something that you knew you was gonna really do?
well, it's kind of funny because when I first started, when I first went to get in, I told my wife I got to get a job, and I decided I'd write my way in. That was actually all the way in Oregon. It was kind of funny because we left where we were growing, and my wife put down a map and blindfolded me, and I just pointed at the United States, and I ended up pointing at Tacoma, Washington. But we made it to Beaverton, Oregon. That's where we stopped, and the cook came out, and that's where I kind of, like bribed him and got a job. But that's kind of how I started. But when I knew I was going to do it, when I went to work for the Marriott, because everything is still today, like it's just everything's, those days you did ice carvings, you had a grand opening, you were, you had lobsters as big as a table doing displays, you had to like wrestle them, get them into water. I mean, it was like real stuff, you don't see people do gingerbread displays or, anything like that.
Yeah, let's talk about that though. The ice carvings and the gingerbread displays. Like you did some amazing work on that. You had newspaper articles, all type of stuff.
Yeah, your European chefs hated you. When I first started with them, I'd aggravate them. They didn't really like me, Werner, and he'd do ice carving. So I'd always be like, "Hey, let me help. Just hold the ice." And after about the sixth ice carving, he had me stand close. It was crazy. My apron was tied in the front, and then he took the chainsaw all the way through the ice, and it literally touched my apron and like pulled me as he pulled back the saw, and he was laughing. I was like almost done.
Yeah.
And from that, then that was, I guess, our bonding in European chef's life, but then he just taught me, taught me how to carve ice and do chocolate and fruit carvings and, just crazy, just I think about my biggest one was I I still remember my brother, I told him, yeah, we're gonna do this one in Reno, Nevada, all downtown Reno. And we had trains, we had 3 trains, like literally 12,000 pounds of gingerbread and icing. It was a monster. It's like 40 days total, but like 5 days putting it together. And the morning it came out of us in the newspaper, it was me with my chef's outfit, piping the hotel, life-size hotel, and next to me was Hassan Hussein because he got caught that night. So it said evil and sweet. It was just crazy. And so all my friends were calling me from all over the country saying, "Hey, you're in the newspaper in our town and stuff." And, it's you and Hassan Hussein. I was like, "Well, damn," So that was pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. I've snuck in, had generals sneak us into chili cook-offs for the military, and my friend was all drunk and he started spitting on a 4-star general. He's the Joint Chief of Staff. And then the general started laughing and everybody started laughing. We thought we were going to go to the brig or whatever. But yeah, it's crazy. Fed politicians, fed presidents, Bush, the dad. It's just crazy. Like the business is, one thing about cooking, you can take it. I was lucky. I was blessed. I think I was at the right place at the right time a lot of times. But I was also well hated, so I think that was my biggest driving force. Because like in Vegas back then, it was very political, and and I worked at the Fremont downtown, so you're kind of I work at Caesars, like even though they didn't really work, like we actually worked down there, but it was a trying time. I'm glad to say that most of the chefs I work with back then are God rest their soul, they're either, gone or they're, like not doing too good. So I feel good I got out of it. You know what I mean? So
Oh yeah, you're doing good,
yeah,
chef.
like Fremont Street experience. I sat in the original meeting with Fremont Street with the original pamphlet before it was ever built with Ron Lurie, the mayor who works for Golden Gaming now, and a secret meeting. And then the next day they voted it in, and it's still there today. It's just crazy when you look at all that, look at all that. So
Okay. Yeah. It's interesting times. So, chef, do you remember the first time we met? How did we meet?
shit, man, it's been. Man, I hate to say it, but we've been to so many things. I think it was an event. Wasn't it an event at a Sheldon had an event, I think, or something.
No, we're volunteering.
Oh, at the Just One project.
Just One project.
Yeah, that was cool, man. I took Floyd. I used to take Floyd Mayweather's dad down because he dug it, like doing the bags and stuff. But yeah, that was kind of crazy. You know what I mean? That was beautiful women. The ladies that were running it, like they were all Barbies, but man, they do a lot of good for the
community.
Yeah. Oh man, I had fun, packing the groceries and going and putting the stuff down there, and I just want to give a shout out because my man Sober Junkies next.
Oh yeah,
and,
man!
And
shout out, SJ.
There's a dude that like deserves it. We'll make sure it goes out there because like that's a dude that's like true Vegas man, been through the struggles, was addicted to like drugs, man, and has found faith in God and figured out how to, like he does cannabis. And I know some people, oh, cannabis and drugs. It ain't drugs, man. And but
medicine.
It is a medicine, man. If the dude can use that medicine and he's blessed and he's putting out this album, his son, I'm bumming to say like when try to get his Mayweather's, to take his son because man, the guy's fucking
ain't no joke.
Like 6'8", got arms longer than a tree trunk, and I'm like, motherfucker hit you from over by the door. You know what I mean?
But technique too. You seen his videos?
Yeah.
He gets down.
I went down and seen him box at the gym with when the guy was fighting Pacquiao. So I went down there and took Pops down there, and they got a kick out of it, the boxers and stuff. So I took Floyd's dad down there, and I think Barrios was the guy's name and stuff before the Pacquiao fight. So it was cool, but God bless his kid, man. I hope he goes. I think he's going to go a long way, and I don't know shit about boxing like Roger Mayweather would say, but I've been around Floyd enough to kind of pick up.
Okay, well, let's talk about that though, because I think that's a wonderful thing is you and Floyd, man.
That was an accidental bump in.
Yeah, how did y'all even meet?
Snoop Dogg, man. Snoop Dogg had an event at the Orleans here, and Daz and all the gang were there, and OG Afro Man, who I know, and they were doing a fundraiser, and I, was smoking with Snoop, and I came out, and then, to be honest, some brother just come and started talking to me and say, hey, everybody, and he showed me a picture of him and Junior, he didn't have Floyd with him, the dad, but he, then the next day the guy got a hold of me and said, oh, we're going to eat, and it was kind of funny. I actually, it all started, my friend had a yacht, a $50 million yacht he wanted to get rid of. And I'm like, well, I make a little money, and sell it to his son because the guy just wanted $1 million, want to get rid of it. Like, like sat next to Dana White's yacht, like literally in Fort Lauderdale. And so that's how it started. Cause I said, hey, doesn't your son have a yacht? And, but that's how we kind of bonded. Like, his son was supposed to take us supposedly on the airplane, but something happened. So last minute they called me and wanted me to take him. He said, well, the jet's gone. You take him. I said, well, hey, I'm like, Floyd Mayweather. I'm like, well, I'm just flying Southwest, as long as he's fine with some free peanuts and a soda. It's all good, because I don't care. I ride jets, limos. It don't matter. I fly commercial. And so like, we get to the airport, my daughter drops us off and we make it through and everybody's like taking pictures and he loves pictures. So everybody stopped, but we get there early, man. We're at, McCarran and we're at the last Southwest thing. And like, I give him his coffee. I said, yeah, here's your Starbucks. And he had the white TMT, all out. And man, he opened the coffee and it just spilled all right here. And it was like, I be honest, man, it looked like he had to run. You know what I mean? And I'm like tripping because it was just me and him because we were like early.
Yeah.
And so I like, hey, let's go in the bathroom, because we didn't have no luggage, in the place. So I like, we get in the bathroom, I say, hey, take off your drawers. I'm like telling Floyd Mayweather, Dad, yeah, take off your drawers and get in the, he got his roll on. He's like, I ain't taking off my drawers. So I'm like, but we got to clean, like like we can't fly like that. And so like, I literally, like, he got against the wall and pulled his things out, his shorts out. And then he grabbed his junk and pulled it to one side. And I literally had paper towels in each hand and I was rubbing inside his leg. But I was like, I got one side down, then I went to switch to the other side, and I'm like, but I could see the door because his back was to the door, and I almost got done, and some dude walked to the door, and all he did was a white guy, like doing this with his brother's back, and I said, Floyd, like they're gonna be in here, like maybe a minute later they come busting in. The cops and F, whatever you call them, and they're like, and then they go, hey, Mr. Mayweather, somebody said, and I go, hey, man. And because I had just pulled my hands out of his pants, literally. And the crazy part, whatever soap they use at the airport,
everything came out.
They were white, man. Like, I don't know whether there wasn't a stain in them. It was just crazy, but you could tell they were wet. But yeah, that was my bonding experience, kind of. And then, on the way there, like I called the guy that supposedly is friends with his son that owns a charity. It turns out it was a liar. But like I said, hey, you got a limo? And it was just kind of crazy because he goes, no, just take a Uber. And I'm like, Floyd Mayweather, I'm going to take a Uber? So I call my daughter, another $400 out of my pocket to get a limo there to take us to the yacht, that was in Fort Lauderdale at Bali High Marina. But the whole trip was, it was just a bonding experience. Like I said, it was great. But we got like 5 days on the yacht, just kicked back, and they got rid of it, so everything was good. But yeah, that was kind of like, like we just became friends after that. Like everybody in their camp thought I like wanted their dad's money and this and that, and then like people are judgmental, which is cool. I don't, like I'm me, man. You either like me or you don't like me.
Man, Chef already got money, man. He don't need nobody money. But that's cool, man. Because it's a very beautiful friendship, man. I definitely I admire that,
Yeah,
especially in this day and age, seeing the black man and the white man, just be cool, taking care of each other, man. It's important to see that.
I think that's why there's it's weird from his family because they probably don't understand that. Like it sounds weird, but like I've known him like 7 years, 8 years, traveled with him, been out of state, been on jets with him, been to medical appointments with him. I mean, like I go walking with him down. I like he's a friend. You know what I mean? Just like you know what I mean? It's like, it's the love, there's no price. He costs me money. I'm just being honest. I don't mean that viciously. I just like, because of, he's with me. So I'm not going to say, hey, like, you want to kick in? Like,
yeah. No, you a true friend, especially if you wipe a man's pants down.
No, well, that's my joke. When I got back, I told him, hey, people want in your husband's pocket, but I've been in his pants. Yeah,
that's wild. Well, shout out Floyd Mayweather Sr., man. It's a good man. Yeah, definitely.
Put on some James Brown. That's it. That's all he needs. So.
That's what I was going to say, man. When he hear that James Brown, he cut up for real.
It's all over. I was driving with him the other day, got as my witness, and he's not paying attention. There's a woman on the other side of the street, and I'll be honest, she's a nice-looking girl, and he just says, well, I'll be all day, on that. Look over. You see her way over there, 71. But God bless him.
Oh, man. Hey, well, Chef, let's also get on your diabolical side of this cannabis, right? Like you are a wizard on the edibles. So when did that, like, I think it's the caramels where you
They used to call me Chef Caramel.
Okay.
Because I'd make Well, I love making. It's weird. Like when I first started with my buddy owned called Earth Research Labs, and he made these candies back then called the atomic bomb, but it was BHO, like bomb, but spelled with, because it was
BHO, yeah.
And it's all atomic bomb. And it was kind of crazy. He had a gig from Ziggy Marley, Bob Marley's kid, for Burning Man to make these 500 milligram hard candies. And they tasted like shit, like, I'll be honest. And he was telling me, and then, he kept saying, yeah. So, I tell him, hey, you need to like get a chef like in the mix, instead of like, doing it with your parents and stuff, like put a culinarian in there. And he's like, over and over, I know Rob forever. He's like, it ain't the baker, it's the oil maker. And I said, well, like it's the opposite, because in infusion, it ain't like you're in the gourmet room cooking and I'm making your veal scallopini and the pan's hot. I put that alcohol in, flame comes up, all the alcohol's gone. Just the essence is left.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like cooking, you got to do the opposite. Like, because that's where people screw up. They put too much heat, takes away the THC, no matter how strong it is, they come up with inferior product. So I actually took his recipe and tweaked it as a chef. It took me a couple weeks in their factory, but that candy won a High Times Award in Jamaica, Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't go over. We didn't bribe anybody. We just entered it. Like we didn't go there, but it won him. And then like the next month, it was in, I think it's called Hayes Magazine, with his picture of his son, which was, like cool. So, like, and I like to bake. I'm a chef. So I always like to, I call it infused confusion, because most people are confused about infusion. You know what I mean? In honesty. And I used to do pizza parties, and I used to do candy parties, show people how to make candy and, stuff. And I'd let them take the product home, because I tell them, don't ruin your product. But like the things I made today, these are just messing around today. But like these are a 7 grain bar, very healthy. But then I just covered them in a carob chocolate, so so it's not chocolate actually, so it could fit in. And then these are like, I call them the turtle, but these
Don't
are
have you slow like that for sure.
Yeah, no, well, like I make these for me, and like I have one of my friends return some of my caramels because he said, dude, I like these are just too strong. Like, see, and I was like, well, just eat a piece of it. You know what I mean? Like,
even my sister ate a piece one time, and we was at Cowabunga Bay, fucked her up. We had to call it quits early. Like,
I'll tell you some stories about some famous people that like had them in, but I don't want to blow their cover and stuff. But I like making them, and I got to be honest, mine are like, their potency is. It's way up there, but
it's at medical level.
Yeah,
like
it's at medical level.
Yeah.
Well, I have people that have cancer, friends. They don't even take their drugs, man. I make them little cannabis pills, like I said in my, experimental lab, and man, they don't have to take all that pharmaceutical drugs, and they get the same benefits. They're actually healthier. They're eating better. You know what I mean? So I look at it like that as a medicine. Like I'm a hippie. I didn't, like I'll claim the fifth. I was smoking before they scientifically proved it good, but I swore to it back then too, that I trusted Willie Nelson, and he told us everything was good about it. So,
yeah.
But
shout out Willie.
It's shame that like the CBD market, and for like we did Floyd's rubs with our CBD.
Yeah, that was some good stuff.
That was good stuff. But what happened was our own government just let any country just bring in CBD here, so they just wiped out the U.S. market. So it's like throwing money in a hole every month. And as good as it was, it was a loss of moneymaker. And then because you're competing against people that are in a head shop buying something they see for cheap, then they go, oh, it didn't do nothing. Or, you know what I mean? There's no benefit from it because it ain't really the right product. It's like tequilas. All the tequilas company getting sued because they found out it's only 33% of guava. They just tested all that one company and, it's pure guava. But, they're like, okay, it's crazy. But, like medicine, it's good. It used the right way, like I said, there's 100 benefits, especially hemp. I think they're going to develop a lot of things from hemp, like they could get rid of a leaf and other medicines. But I think the problem is the pharmaceutical companies are against that because how would they make their money? Because doctors get incentive. I used to own a restaurant. They used to come in and get to-go foods like in my restaurants in states with pharmaceutical companies, producers, and they would take them to them or the doctors and that, and as a gift, take them so they would use that company's drugs, so they got their bonus, which is crazy. So, because no medicine that's man-made actually is cures anything.
Yeah. But when it comes to edibles though, for the people that want to get into it, what are some easy edibles to get into? Like three edibles at the top of your head.
The easiest for me, one edible, like, a lot of people like in I'm older, but like a hard candy because it's easy. It's just basically, sugar, water, corn syrup.
Mm-hmm.
Just take it to a certain temperature. And once again, you got to watch it because hard candy is a 300-degree, like hard caramel.
Mm-hmm.
So if you put your wax in and we're boiling it away from the 200 to the 300 in the mix, you wouldn't have any THC left in it when it got back to you or any of the plant benefits. But that's why it's a way to do it. Like we're getting ready to launch something, an online thing I talked to you about that, people can go on and get other chefs from around the country. So they can just go on free, and check out. And then also maybe once a week, they'll do a recipe and people could actually know of it ahead of time and actually make it from their house, whether it's a food item or an edible and stuff. I think it'd be pretty interesting and then highlight certain chefs that I know from around the country that show theirs. And if they're not legal, they could do it with CBD, like if their THC isn't legal in their area. So but I think
Okay.
it's an education,
Yeah, that's a great idea.
you know.
Can you let's move on to Thomas Consulting, right? Thomas
Thomas
Consulting. Did I say
Consulting.
it right?
Yeah, that's a banking conglomerate that's been incorporated in the United States since like the 1840s, one of the oldest banking institutions. They got like 900 banks. I don't want to name their name main bank, but basically they underwrite what my daughter does, and she does debit card processing for the dispensaries. At one time, we did credit cards. We don't really do those anymore, but we never had a problem when she did do them for 2 years. Never no stopped account or anything like that. But she's never had her account suspended or anything. They're legal in what they do. They actually work. I can't say who it is, but one of the local grows here, one of the larger grows in Southern Nevada. They do the banking for them. Actually, the cash that they get, they actually bank for them in the banking system. Um, and, that's our thing. I ran into that just because of being associated with other people. It's like at Exhale, I think it is across from the Palm.
Mm-hmm.
Before the pandemic, we're working a deal for that. There are three operations for $38 million in Canadian stock. It was wild. It was like penny stock from the Canadian market with a guy named Aaron Soraya, the kingpin of
Yeah, yeah,
cannabis.
yeah.
And my family got to represent him. And like we put the deal, the only problem with the lawyer here didn't like the deal of the stock, even though he guaranteed him $38 million in stock, even if it went down. The bitch is that company went over to the New York Stock Exchange and became, I think, American Health and Liberty or American Liberty Health and Science, or it's called, worth a fortune now from 22 cents a share to in the 30s or 40s. But Al Harrington from Viola,
Yeah.
when they needed Matt Hathaway, their CEO, reached out to my family and so we could put them with Aaron Soraya again, and they were able to help them out. They were in a pinch. They needed cash to expand as well as product. So we were able to introduce them to Aaron in a meeting. And it's interesting. I used to sit back and go, man, I can't even believe I'm like me and my daughter are, like, I'll be honest, I just shut up, because I told my daughter's very smart. So I just let her, even know like Aaron, my friend, I let my daughter form the relation with him, but because she knows what she's doing, and and she knows the right thing. And it's like she said, Dad, don't talk too much. You make an idiot of yourself. And, it's kind of funny. I took her backstage to the Wu Tang Clan and I was kind of buzzed. And Jimmy Chang, my buddy. He's the CEO, and I don't know why, but I say, "Hey, Jackie Chan," and then like for some reason it just stuck in my head, and I said it a few times, and my daughter said, "Told me something, Dad. You're embarrassing us." Like that's not Jackie. I said, "I know. I just like I'm sorry." I don't know. For me, it was funny. I guess my mom dropped me a lot on my head, but it's all good. They know you mean good. You know what I mean? They're good people. Good to that's a benefit of what I've done. It's great to take my kids. I think my kids have reaped a lot of benefits from what I did as a living. My son Joseph got or Michael got to go to the Lakers game when the Lakers were playing the playoffs in '99, and got to go jacuzzi with Shaq and a ball signed by the whole team. And there's a lot of benefits. You know what I mean? I mean, hell, the day Kobe Bryant died, I took Floyd Mayweather and his wife down. We got to LA and we were going to go watch the game and watch his daughter practice. That's how, I used to feed all of those people as a
Mhm.
chef, and you get bonded. It ain't like pouring somebody a drink. It's something when you feed somebody, it's like, I don't know. It's,
Oh
it's
yeah,
like,
it's a connection.
it's a
Yeah,
connection. It's like
yeah.
breaking bread. I think people, like golf courses or meals or places where people should get relationships built.
All right. Well, what's next for Chef PJ? Can we expect any infused events or anything else?
No, right now, like I'll be honest, I am enjoying life watching my kids and watching them do things. I try most of my time right now spent trying to figure out ways that I could help them. Uh, we got Sheldon coming up, his event. I think that's All Access USA, but his event's coming up at downtown Vegas here in a couple weeks, and that's the Cannabis and Music Awards. And just doing. I've been traveling a lot. Me and my brother have been traveling, and that's something I think I want to start as a little blog or something where I go out and eat with chefs that I know and kind of go from there. So
All right, man. Well, anything else? Wait, hold on, real quick. You see this real quick? Is this? Okay, cool. Oh, bro, I got low key. Okay, cool. All right, for sure. All right, hey, so
I hate
Chef.
to say this, but the recorder was off. Oh, that's it. Roll up some more Hooters.
Yes, sir, man.
No, I'm just
Hey,
saying.
look, shout out Keith, man.
Yeah.
All right, Chef. Well, is there anything else you want to leave for the good folks in there? Where can they reach you at, find you at?
Mostly with me. If you go to Instagram, I'm known as their AKA ChefTales. I just, like I mostly tell stories and stuff. It's kind of funny. One thing I didn't talk about, I did comedy on a dollar bet, when I was uh, probably 10 years ago or so, but I actually bet a comedian friend of mine that I could headline, and I actually ended up able to do it. And it was funny because it was so surreal sitting there with my kids and looking at Ticketmaster and seeing like Snoop Dogg performing in town the same weekend, and then my PJ Thomas Chef Tales, it was called. And I just went up and told, like stories. I only did it once. I went and it was crazy. I sold out the shows, didn't allow camera, went and did it, made a recording. I never did it again. You know what I mean? And my friends are like, I still got a thing from all the Seattle and all the, things, but it was just I didn't practice. You know what I mean? I just went up there, just kind of shot off the top of the brain, kind of like that Harry Mack dude, the rapper dude. God, that
Hmm.
dude's a trip. And but you know, mostly, man, I wish you good. You know what I mean? Because like if I only have one thing to say, it's for people to slow down and show more love to other people, and like respect. You don't know what people have been through or what happened in their life or what kind of tragedies they're dealing with. Like, and it's spread love, not hate. Like it's just easier. I mean, that's my thing. I always try to treat people I want to get treated. Get screwed around a lot like that, but the bottom line is I'm happy with who I am. So
No, that's the most important part. Kindness and even grace. I'm starting to learn really grace, like having grace for people, even when they're messing up,
yep.
but you still give them that grace. You still motivate them. You don't judge them. That's showing grace. And that's a superpower right there. Well, hey, man, it was a wonderful episode, Chef. Man, I'm glad
I
that we
look
got
forward to
this
seeing
one
it.
down.
So yeah, it's been a while. So it's
Yeah.
it's good to see everything's going. And like I said, it's just I think it's a blessed day. Seeing Sober Junkie next door doing his thing, and
Yeah.
there's another guy like you that's got they just got drive. You know what I mean? And that's what it takes. The only thing I say in life, I wish I was 30 years younger. I got a lot of drive. I'm active more.
More than a lot of folks, man. You really active, Chef.
But I just wish, like I realized too that, like I'm on the fourth, I'm around third base headed towards home. That's reality. You got to look at it. You know what I mean? And so that's why I live every day. I try to wake up and just do people right. And even if you dog me, I still try to throw blessings at you. Cause that's just my way. So it's my family's way. Like my daughter would say, we don't want you sitting at our table, but we do want you to eat, so.
Shout out to Angel.
The
all right,
Ryan,
Joe. Yeah, Joe, yeah.
Mike,
yeah,
Chris.
yeah.
I got the best kids in the world. I'll be honest. That's one thing I am blessed. All my friends always told me, hey, you travel too much, your kids, because my kids were gypsies with me. And the only difference is they don't want to travel. They're all set, which is good. At first, I was a little offended when they told me, hey, Dad, we don't want to live like you did. But I get it. You know what I mean? That's the hardest thing about kids. You have to realize that, because they see what you've done and they try to get the best of it and move on. So I got 5 great kids. I got like I am blessed there. I will say, yeah, we have our problems like any family, but all in all, my kids are, I wouldn't trade them for nothing. You know what I mean? So they're the best.
No, they're great.
All right, my man.
All right, then, Chef. Yes,
Tap
sir. This is the Trap Advisor. Thank y'all for trapping in. We'll have another episode for y'all soon. Peace.
That was good. Hell yeah.
What you got right there, Chef?
Oh, it's one of mine.
Oh,
I just
okay.
had the tube. I don't know. Those are you guys.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, those are just shit, man. I'm just fucking around, wasting money at home thinking, like I told my brother. We just gotta put our heads together. There's a way to even go out and and have fun and get people to pay for it. You know what I mean? If it's done with the right, the right way. I mean, as far as followers or whatever, or being able to sell stuff like Jeff, his website.